All right, recording got started. Thank you all of you for joining our hands-on Azure Data Engineering program. Let me quickly introduce about myself. My name is Lakshmi. I have overall 24 years of experience in IT. I extensively worked in London, Belgium, Netherlands, and finally settled here. Basically, I'm from South India, but got settled here. Now I'm a citizen of Australia. I live in Melbourne. And I'm very familiar in the market for my hands-on Scrum Master Product Owner trainings. So I started my journey giving the hands-on trainings for Scrum Master Product Owner, and it was hugely successful. People started getting jobs because by doing, it gives you the real required confidence. So in this process, I also collaborated with the other trainers, and we started giving the trainings for DevOps, data engineer, and CompTIA, and other areas. So we all gathered here to have a good, thorough understanding about the high demand Azure data engineer. So what exactly the Azure data engineer will be doing and why there is so much of demand, what skills are required. So our trainer Vamshi is going to help us to understand that one. Basically, we have seen a significant amount of growth in the artificial intelligence area, business intelligence, and all of them they heavily rely on the data. Without data, they cannot do anything. Trust me. So senior management, marketing team, sales, everyone wants to data. Everyone wants to make a decisions based on the data, not decisions based on the authority, but decisions needs to happen based on the data. Data-driven decisions, we call it as. So somebody needs to supply them the relevant data. So here comes the data engineer saying that, hey, here you go. This is the data. But initially, where exactly the data is, maybe I might be doing shopping. I touch the card. My wife is doing some internet transfer on her mobile. My friend is doing via different portals. So we have data that is getting generated from multiple platforms. And all these data are, for example, let us take a National Australia Bank. So all the data from the National Australia Bank is getting stored in some storage. Let us see simple example. So now we have all the data collaborated here. We call big data here. And our management needs a refined data because they want to make the data driven decisions, maybe to improve the sales, to understand the customer spending patterns, or to guide the customer on their spending patterns, whatever. So you come here as a bridge, bringing all the structured, unstructured data, and then you do the cleaning, you do the restructuring, and you send it to different department. So we call this as ETL. So ETL is extraction. You are going to extract the data, you are going to transform the data, and you are going to load the data. And that's the reason there is a huge demand for the data engineers. Data engineers. And why only Azure? Why not AWS data engineer? Vamshi is going to help us in understanding uh, how the market is switching towards inclined more towards the Azure. Okay, so we have three market leaders, cloud providers. So from Microsoft, we have Azure, and from Google, we have GCP, Google Cloud Platform, and from Amazon, we have AWS. These are the three cloud service providers, out of which, though the AWS is leading now, in next 2 years, Azure is going to completely take over the market. So especially in Australia region, so if you see the jobs in Seek, Vamshi is going to help us with the job opportunities. 90% of them, you see the Azure, because most of the government organizations, they already collaborated with Microsoft. Microsoft version of the cloud is Azure. So that's the reason there is a huge demand for people who can manage this data engineering activities on the cloud platform. And to do all those things, definitely maybe you need to know the SQL. All need to understand a bit of Python. There is a PySpark, and we all need to master the tools. Like for example, you have the Databricks, a data factory. Lot of tools are there. So learning the theory learning this training in a theoretical way is not going to help us anyway. For me, logic is very simple from the beginning. If you want to be a good car driver, we need to get into the car and start driving it. We cannot become a good car driver by watching Udemy or by reading books. So we must do it. So this is how we designed our program. We are going to involve all of you. especially Vamshi is going to take us a practical training program from the beginning till end. Okay, so the classes are starting from today, and it is going to continue until Christmas. So to 20th or 22nd, maybe Vamshi may extend here 2 3 days here and there, but let us target Christmas. So every day we'll have 1 hour class, maybe 15 20 minutes question and answers, and we have a hands-on assignment. So there will be a dedicated support and the WhatsApp group, or each and every live class will be recorded, materials will be shared, hands-on assignments will be shared, a continuous support is assured. Okay, if anything is going wrong, if you're not happy on any aspect at all, I'm the point of contact. I have a lot of credibility in the market. Just to type my mobile number on Google and it shows everything. So if something is going wrong, please bring it to my attention. Our I take my responsibility. I always tell to my students, your money is not the high priority for us. Again, your money, whatever you are paying, is not at all the high priority. Our high priority is your happiness, your satisfaction, and your success. That's the top of the backlog. Then comes the money part. Okay, team, I don't want to take much of your valuable time, so I'm handing over to Vamshi. Okay, let me make Vamshi as host. Vamshi, are you there?
Yeah, yeah, fine.
Oh,
Thank you,
okay,
Lakshmi
fine.
sir. Yeah,
Thank you very much, Vamshi. So I'm leaving all these students into your hands. I know that you are going to excel as usual. You have been doing this for a while. Team, for example, for your information, Vamsi is currently working as an artificial intelligence scientist in Microsoft. So he's highly talented. He's IIT graduate. He's having extensive training experience as well, trained hundreds of people. Okay, and let us make most use of his talent. And if you have any questions, please do not hesitate to ask in the chat box. So Vamshi will be helping us. Maybe today he will give us a overview introduction, and from tomorrow we are going to deep dive into the actual classes. Turning off my camera, over to you, Vamshi. Thank you very much,
fine.
my dear students.
Yeah. Thank you, Lakshmi sir, and hello, guys, everyone. Fine, welcome to this session on ADE, Azure Data Engineer. And so before we start this session, so let me introduce you about myself. So I've been working around 16 years in this AI and data field. Right now, I'm associated with Microsoft as an AI research scientist. Okay, so let me not boast about myself. I work for different Fortune 500 clients here globally. So I'll give you my knowledge. Okay, so I'll put these things in as simple ways as possible. I'll explain you what exactly is data engineering. Fine. So let me share my screen. Fine. All right. So in this session, in this introductory session, so we'll start with what is Azure Data Engineer, and I'll give you a brief introduction about the traditional methodologies before to this data engineering process. All right. So we'll try to understand so what is data engineering and the need of data engineering, who are data engineers especially. So what kind of skills they have actually. So what kind of role they play in real world scenarios. So what are the difference between a data engineer and a data scientist in an analytics team? And again, so what are the role of cloud here and why Azure? So why not AWS or why not GCP or why not any other cloud here? So we'll try to understand these things in detail. And finally, I'll give you a snapshot or a brief learning path about what skills you need to have as a data engineer and what we'll be learning as part of this Azure data engineer path. Fine. All right. So we're good to go. Fine. Now, okay, so let me put down the things in as simple ways as possible, guys. Now, let me tell you one thing. See, if I tell you something about data engineering, there are a lot of definitions over web. Now, if you go to Google and type it, what is data engineering, you might get a lot of definitions. But let me tell you, see, if you look at this definition, which is a popular kind of thing from Wikipedia, of course, you people know this, what is Wikipedia, right? So it states that data engineering refers to the building of systems to enable the collection and usage of data. So this data is usually used to enable subsequent analysis and data science, which often involves machine learning. Making the data usable usually involves substantial compute and storage, as well as data processing and cleaning. Wow. So there are a lot of keywords. If you observe carefully, there are a lot of keywords to understand here. But let me put down these things in as simple ways as possible. Now, before we learn what is data engineering, right? So before we try to understand the process of data engineering, let me tell you, see, what were the traditional methods of this kind of process here? So what were the things here? Now, in simple terms, let me put down these things here. Data engineering is a process. Now, for example, so what do you mean by process? For example, in layman terms, I'll tell you, see, now data engineering refers to some kind of process here of, data analysis, data extraction, data transformation, or something. Fine. So it has some kind of engine, I call it as. All right. So if you understand it as some kind of engine, now data is the oil or the fuel, you can understand here. All right. So data is the oil or fuel here. So let me tell you these things, guys. Now you might be aware of some kind of keywords, right? Data scientist, machine learning, artificial intelligence. All right. So data analysis, all these things. I mean, see, different kinds of domains and different teams here in an organization rely on this data only. Now, for example, now if you take the case of retail, Walmart, all right, so Walmart has stores across Northern American region, right? So they have stores. I mean, see, now on a daily basis, some lot of transactions, okay, so goes on in Walmart stores. I mean, all right. So where they, I mean, see, data will be getting generated in different forms here. Now, what they do with the data here? So they try to dig out some kind of insights from the data so that they can improve their sales. So they want to understand their customer purchasing patterns. We call it as customer behavior. All right. So customer behavior. All right. Or they want to improve their sales. I mean, all right. Or they want to predict some future sales here. Predict future sales. Now, how do they do this, all these things here? Let me tell you, if you have the data, only then you can, see, you can find out all these kind of things here. Now, what is this data about? What exactly is the data? See, data consists some kind of information. So data is something, it tells you about some kind of information. So which will be in some kind of text, numbers, and strings kind of format here. So let us try to understand the things here. Now, as per the data generation, right? So data is classified into four different types here. Structured data, semi-structured data, unstructured data, and real-time data. Real-time data, or we also call it as streaming data also, stream data. All right, fine. Now let us try to understand the details about this data. All right, so what are the structured data, what is semi-structured data, everything. Let us try to understand now. Now, if you Google it out, right, so you get a lot of things here. See, let me explain you with this simple image. Now, what is structured, what is unstructured data? So, structured data refers to the name itself tells you the data is having some kind of predefined structure. For example, the data which is stored in some kind of tabular format. Tabular format. So, you know, SQL table, right? A simple table. Fine. So, data which is stored in some kind of neatly defined rows and columns here. So, that is a perfect example of some kind of structured data. So, let me also show you that. What is this tabular data? Tabular data. All right. So data which is stored in some kind of table format here. All right. So if you look at here, so there is some kind of sample table, layer, minutes, points, rebounds, and assists. All right. So these are, see, the vertical patterns are called as columns. And again, see, so you can see these rows here. All right. So rows or records, people call it as. Fine. So this is some kind of tabular format. Now it has some kind of predefined structure, right? So you can easily try to understand with the player what are the minutes. So what are the points here? And again, you can understand here. All right. So this is some kind of structured way the data is being represented here. Now, on the other hand, see what are the types of data that you can store in a tabular format. So data, typically the data will be in some kind of numbers, dates, and string kind of formats here. All right. So for example, so what are the sales? What are the product here? Who has purchased that one? So, okay. So this kind of format, so we can, maintain the data. Now, on the other hand, if you look at the unstructured data, let me tell you guys, Semi-structured data, I mean, if you understand semi-structured data, right? So your Google, I mean, say for example, your web data, your HTML pages, XML pages, all these are perfect examples of semi-structured data. And again, unstructured data. So unstructured data, if you look at this unstructured data, today the data generation is much into this unstructured kind of format. Now let us try to understand what are this unstructured data. Unstructured data, the name itself tells you. So the data which doesn't has any kind of format or any structure here. For example, I mean, if you take the different processing file systems here, for example, Word file, PDF document, or I mean, different kinds of spreadsheets here. All right. So again, your notepad, we call it as a notepad, right? So it is a text file here, notepad. So this is a perfect example of unstructured data. So do you think that it has any structure here? No, right? So this is a perfect example of unstructured data. Again, so I mean, let me tell you some other kind of examples here. Your email data, your messaging platforms. Today, we're dealing with a number of messaging platforms, WhatsApp, Telegram. Again, there are a lot of messaging platforms here. So all those are perfect examples of unstructured data. Now, you might be purchasing something, some kind of products across some kind of apps here. Semi-structured data, let me tell you, XML pages, web pages, those are the perfect examples of semi-structured data. All right. Again, so for example, you might be searching for something over Google. All right, so data is getting generated in unstructured format. You're trying to purchase some kind of product over Amazon through some kind of app or some kind of web-based kind of format here. So again, data is getting generated. You're playing some kind of online games. All right, so online games, again, data is getting generated in log kind of format. Now everyone is using smart devices, right? You might be wearing smartwatches, you might be having smartphones with you, smart gadget, other kind of smart gadgets with you. So that is all the perfect examples of unstructured kind of data. We call them as IoT, Internet of Things. All right. Social media platforms, Twitter. All right. So Meta, again, so there are different kinds of social media platforms where you post something, where you tweet something. All right. So again, data is getting generated in unstructured kind of format there. So likewise, if you take it, there are a lot of examples of unstructured kind of data that is getting generated. And so, as per the Gartner survey, right? So, Gartner is one of the popular IT consulting firms across the globe, guys. Okay, so they do their research activities in various domains. And okay, so as per their survey, as per their research, so what they came to know is the amount of data, structured data that is being getting generated across the globe in enterprises is almost all 20%. Now, what about the rest 80%? 80% of the data is getting generated in unstructured format. Because see, let me tell you a simple example, guys. Now you and me are every minute we are connected through internet, right? Right. So even see, we can live without food and water today, but we can't live without internet or mobiles here. So that is the kind of generation we are living in. Fine. So all these are the perfect examples of some kind of unstructured data. Now there comes the challenging task here. So how do you even capture this kind of data? How do you store this data? So where do you store this data? In which formats you store this data? Because data is getting generated in different formats. All right, fine, fine. I'll be slow, guys. I mean, I'm sorry. So here, if you look at unstructured data, right? Data is getting generated in different formats. Unstructured data is being getting generated in different formats. All right, formats. Now, for example, so what are the format of the structured data? Structured data, as I told you, it is some kind of tabular data. Semi-structured data, on the other hand, I mean XML pages, all right, HTML pages, all right, so your web pages, all right, so all these are the perfect examples of semi-structured data. And unstructured data, as I told you, I mean, so there are lot and lot of, I mean, things that are getting generated in unstructured format only. And again, so what is real-time data, streaming data? So live data. So for example, you'll be watching some kind of live show or I mean something kind of thing. Okay, so that is some perfect example of some kind of streaming data here. Now, where we'll discussing all these things is now you have to understand the kinds of data, the types of data here, guys. As a data engineer, you will be working with wide variety of data types here. All right, so different data types you will be working with in real world scenarios because the data is getting generated in different formats. Now, for example, let me tell you a simple example here. Let us take the case of Walmart here. Now, Walmart, as its presence across North American region, right? And they have stores, see, both online and offline. All right. So you might be, see, for example, you might be visiting a particular Walmart store. All right. So you might be purchasing some kind of products there. So that means you're making some kind of transaction. So transaction is being done. All right. So that is some kind of offline kind of thing. Again, through online also you purchase some kind of product. I mean, so you might be using Walmart app or you might be logging into the Walmart account. I mean, so you have using some kind of web browser. All right. So again, the data is getting generated now. All right. Now the data is getting generated in different formats. They might see the data might be in structured format. The data might be in unstructured format. Who knows? I mean, all right. Now, as a data engineer, you have to, I mean, see, format all those kind of data. You have to process all those kind of data so that the other data developers could easily work on them. Fine. So let us try to understand this now. So, I mean, we had some kind of traditional method in order to extract the data. I mean, try to transform the data and again try to load the data. So we call it as data warehousing. I hope, I mean, so some of you might be aware of this. But again, let us try to understand what is this data warehousing architecture. Let me tell you guys, this is the traditional methods and the most widely used methods. Okay, so before cloud. All right. So let me explain you the concept here. What is this thing here? It is called a three-tier data warehousing architecture. Now in the left-hand section, you can see different sources. So let us try to understand in this way. Let me give a simple example here. So let us take the same Walmart example. So the data is getting generated in different formats and they're storing the data. So let's say, for example, so this is some kind of tabular data you have. And this is some kind of CRM systems you have. And again, this is some kind of simple files. I mean, for files in the sense, it might be text file, like this notepad. And again, it could be some kind of Excel file. Okay, so some kind other kind of files here. Now, as a data engineer, so what you do is, so what we do here is we integrate, we try to extract all these kind of data. Right. We try to integrate all this kind of data in some kind of common area, which is called staging area. What are the staging area? So what is its purpose here? Let me tell you guys, staging area will help you to integrate all this different data. So why do you are integrating all this data here? What is the purpose of this? In order to analyze the sales. Now there will be a lot of sales going on, right, in Walmart stores. So who is going to analyze the sales here? You as a data engineer only. Fine. Because see, first of all, you need to arrange the data in a proper format here. Only then some kind of insights or some kind of decisions can be taken here. All right. So first of all, you will be working on the real data here as a data engineer. And let me tell you, now when you're working in real world on the data, right? Data might contain different discrepancies. So what do you mean by that? See, data might contain duplicates here, duplicate records. All right. So data might contain missing values. We call them as nulls in database terminology. Or data might contain different date fields also. Or data might contain different unwanted kind of things also. So first of all, you have to clean that data. Now let me tell you. So what does a data engineer do here is, so first of all, he will be involved in data extraction through different data sources here. After that, again, data ingestion. All right. So what is the data ingestion? Let me tell you now. Okay. Again, data cleaning and transformation. Data cleaning and transformation. So this part is very, very important, guys. Data cleaning and transformation, because in real world scenarios, lot of the time goes into this kind of stage itself. Because see, first of all, the data has to be properly cleaned and formatted here, and again transformed here. Only then you can make out some kind of decisions from the data. All right. So let me explain you what are these things here. Now, when you're integrating data through different kinds of data sources, so probably I need to join this data sources, right? Yes, in order to analyze the sales here, I might have to join this kind of data sources here. Oftenly, sometimes what happens is I want to calculate some kind of things here. So I want to perform some kind of aggregate calculations. All right. Or I want to create a new column based on the existing columns here. All right. Or say, for example, I want to apply some other kind of transformation rules on the data. So finally, after I'm done with all the kind of transformation activities on the data, Then finally, the data will be loaded into this data warehouse. We call it as enterprise data warehouse. So this is the final data, and this is the properly cleaned and transformed data. So you can think all of the Walmart's data will be stored in this enterprise data warehouse. Now the point comes here, for example, in order to analyze something, in order to predict something, or in order to understand the customer patterns or customer purchasing kind of things, everything. So first of all, different process has to be involved here. All right. So BI analyst. Now we talk about business intelligence, right? So we use some kind of tools like Tableau, Power BI. All right. So these set of tools we use in order to make out some kind of decisions. In order to get some kind of insights from the data. So again, they come up with different visualization by bar chart, pie chart kind of activities. So where we prepare the dashboards in this way. Let me show you dashboards. So you see dashboard, right? You know what is dashboard, right? See, all these are charts here. So this is a bar chart, and this is some kind of line chart, guys. And these are some kind of key metrics we call it as. Okay, so these are the different examples of different dashboards here. So we call it as a dashboard. Individually, if you take, so these are called as charts here. This is one kind of chart. This is another kind of chart. You might, so you might came across this kind of dashboards, right? Dashboard charts here. Okay, so these processes involved. But in order to perform this kind of activity, right, first of all, the data has to be properly cleaned and formatted. All right. So because without that, you can't even do this kind of charts here. You can't see because see, data will be see if you don't clean the data, if you don't transform the data, how come you can make some kind of accurate predictions here? So for example, I want to predict the future Apple sales here, future Apple sales, what the iPhone sales here. So in order to predict something, right, you should have proper data, right? Fine. So machine learning people, so they do these predictions and all this kind of activities here. But who is going to give them the data here? You as a data engineer. All right. So first of all, you have to first of all understand the data. You have to analyze the data properly. You have to clean the data. You have to transform the data, and then you have to share the data to the machine learning engineer. So where he will finally come up with some kind of predictions on the data. So likewise, so different activities are involved here, data cleaning and transformation. So finally, what happens is after this stage, so finally, the data will be, used for different analysis purposes here. So this is the traditional method here. But let me tell you, this kind of architecture has some kind of drawbacks. So what are the drawbacks here? Let me tell you now. See, though you're able to extract the data in different formats here, so data is residing in different formats, right? But again, you're converting the data into structured format only. All right. So because see, now in real world data, and if you look at the data, right? So we have some kind of CSV data. CSV is some kind of file similar to Excel concept here. Okay. Excel kind of file, and again some kind of SQL table, and again, you can also extract the data from some kind of web sources here. We call them as APIs. And again, Parquet, which is used in big data environments a lot. And again, see JSON kind of data, which is used in automation kind of things a lot. All right. So likewise, you might be having data in different formats here. So who is going to, process this data? Who is going to clean this data as a data engineer? But is your traditional data warehouse is capable of holding this kind of data? No, because it could hold or it could play with only structured data. Now, what is the solution for this one? So that is a drawback, right? If I have different formats of data, now I have different formats of data. So, but how come I able to, am I able to process this kind of data with this regular traditional method? No, right? So that is where you require some kind of data engineering process here. So what is the solution to this one? The solution to this one is to move to a concept called as data lakes. Data lakes. So let us try to understand the concept of data lakes here. Let me tell you the concept of data lakes, guys. So what is this? Let us try to understand in simple examples here. Now, if you look at the differences between data lake and data warehouse, right? So keeping in point the differences or the drawbacks of data warehouse, data lake, data lake lets you store the data, any kind of data in its native format. Native format. So what do you mean by native format here? What is the meaning of storing the data in its native format? So whatever the type of data you have, whether you have CSV data, whether you have Excel, whether you have SQL table, whether you have API, Parquet, JSON, you can still maintain and store it as a CSV file only, Parquet file only. No need to convert that data. Unlike we convert this data into structured kind of format. No need to convert that one. All right. So that is one of the biggest achievement here. Second thing is what are the amount of data that you could maintain in a data warehouse is limited. Data warehouses could handle or store up to terabytes of data, not more than that. But let's say today the data volumes are very huge here. So how to maintain or to store that huge amounts of data? So it is where we go with the concept of data lakes because data lakes are created and hosted on cloud platforms. So here we can maintain more than petabytes of data, more than TBs of data we could handle here. All right. And again, if you look at the end kind of thing, right? See, I told you, you're again converting the data into some structured format only. So here it is not required, guys. So you could maintain the data in its native format. Fine. So that is where the data lake comes into the concept here. But again, let me tell you, even data lake has some kind of limitations here, simple limitations. Let me tell you what exactly it is. Then you can understand the process of data engineering. So, as we discussed, data warehouse could handle structured data. It is better and it is a very good of handling BI workloads. What is BI workloads here? Preparing some kind of reports, dashboards, everything. But on the other hand, it couldn't deal with some kind of unstructured data or advanced analytics like machine learning, data science, AI kind of things here. So that is where we go with data lake here. So data lake could help you store the data, different kinds of data here, structured, semi-structured, unstructured kind of data. And again, it could also help you play with advanced analytics on top of the data. So it can be machine learning, it can be data science, AI, or some advanced BI practices. But again, let me tell you guys, it has a small limitation here. The limitation is data lakes doesn't comply with ACID rules here. ACID rules, we call them as ACID rules. It stands for atomicity, consistency, isolation, and durability. So these are the some kind of rules that the SQL transactions follow, guys. The SQL transactions follow this kind of ACID rules here. Now, what happens with this one is because you're able to store the data, different kinds of data in its native format in data lakes, right? Scanning each and every record and modifying that one or updating any kind of data leads to data swamps. What is data swamp? You know, data swamp, right? You could drown in that one. Fine. So that means data gets corrupted here. All right. So that is the main reason. So again, see the data lakes also see it is better solution for storing the data. But again, in order to, I mean, perform some advanced analysis on top of it, right? Again, there is a problem with this one. So what is the solution for this? The solution to this is to go with a platform called as data lakehouse. So what is a data lakehouse here? Data warehouse plus data lake. See, combining these two platforms is a perfect answer for this kind of concepts here. So what we do here is we try to combine the best features of both of these kind of platforms. So that is called a data lakehouse here. So the concept is very simple. So it is one kind of unified platform in order to bring all the data developers under one single roof here. Let me tell you guys what happened in real world scenarios. Now, you know big data, right? So we speak something about big data. In order to process big data, we had different systems here. Hadoop. Hadoop was one of the framework here. Okay. So in order to handle big data. Now, if you have huge volumes of data, you're going with Hadoop here. And if you're having structured data, you're going with data warehouse here. And again, in order to store the data, I'll tell you what is ACID again. And in order to store the data, you're going with the data lakes here. Now, it is something like you're purchasing different products in different stores across your city. For example, let's say you're residing in New York. All right. So you're purchasing different kinds of products in different stores across the city here. What if I say you have one single store where you can get all the products? I mean, so that would be very convenient and feasible, right? So that is the concept of this data lakehouse here. That is the process of data engineering. Let me tell you now what happens here is. So in technical terms, we call them as compute resource here. So data warehouse for structured kind of data, you are having one kind of compute resource. For data lake, you're having one kind of compute resource. Again, for Hadoop, why you're going with Hadoop? So you have big data. That means you have huge volumes of data. So you're using that one. What if I say all the, I mean, facilities, if I give you in this one single platform that is data lakehouse, wouldn't you be using this one? So wouldn't be all the organizations relying on this kind of platform? Yes, right? Yes, so that is what is happening here. And who is going to build this data lakehouse? You as a data engineer. All right. Because the concept here is to bring all the data developers under one single roof. So this platform lets you process the data, any kind of data. So I told you this one, right? When it comes to the case of I mean, see the data generation, streaming data, unstructured data, semi-structured data, structured data. So all of this data could be handled on one single platform. So that is called as data lakehouse platform. Data lakehouse platform, whether it is batch jobs, whether it is real-time data, streaming data, whether it is big data, whether it is machine learning, or whether it is any kind of data. So you can easily, I mean, implement any kind of data solution on top of this platform. So who is going to design this one? So as a data engineer, you will be designing this kind of concept here. Later on, the data can be handled and can be given or shared with multiple other data developers. So once you actually work on the real data and you convert the data and transform the data and again clean the data, right? That data could be easily, I mean, shared with different other kind of teams here. Now, this BI developer, he might be using the data in order to come up with some kind of reports, dashboards, everything. A data scientist might be using the data in order to infer something. So, for example, you want to understand the customer behavior patterns, customer purchasing kind of patterns. All right. So, you might be using different statistical approaches in order to infer something. Now, on the other hand, a machine learning engineer might be using in order to predict the data. For example, you want to predict the future Apple iPhone sales here with Samsung Galaxy phones or some other kind of mobiles here. Example. All right. Or let's say, for example, an AI engineer, artificial intelligence engineer, he might be using this data in order to train his kind of model. We call them as models in AI. So, for example, Chat GPT, right? Chat GPT. Of course, you people might be aware of this one, right? Chat GPT. All right. So this is a perfect, I mean, see, it is one kind of chatbot similar to different chatbots we're having, right? So this is from OpenAI organization. So again, see, let me tell you, in order to train this chat GPT, right? Again, you have to have proper data. So who is going to give them this data? A data engineer will be giving this data here. All right. So first of all, you people will be working on the actual data and you will be converting, you will be cleaning that data, you will be transforming the data. Later on, the data can be shared by multiple other data developers here. So that means, in other words, I can say in this way, all these data developers will be relying on data engineers for reliable data. So that is called reliable data. All right. So see, let me tell you guys, in short, let me tell you. So you might be having different formats of data. So you will be actually playing with that data and you will be sharing that data to this different data developers here. So that is your job role. So that is why data is important here. Data is very important, guys, in order to process it, in order to analyze anything out of it, or in order to train some AI models, or in order to predict some kind of things. Data is very, very essential. All right. And data engineers will be giving this data. They will be sharing this data with other data developers. So that is the importance of your job role. So without data, can you train any chat GPT model? No, right? So without data, see, can you predict something? No, right? So without data, can you prepare any kind of report, dashboards? Can you take any decisions? Can you at least understand what is going on in your sales? No, right? So who is going to give them this data? Data engineers. That is the importance and that is the trend of this kind of job here. So everywhere it is a trend, guys. I mean, across the globe. All right. So that is the importance of this data engineering. So data engineering is a process, guys, and data is the real oil here, fuel. So without data, we can't even work on any kind of things here. So now, if you understand the drawbacks of traditional ETL approach, right? So traditional data warehousing architecture, we have understood here. So the drawbacks are varied. I mean, so we can't play with different data types here. And again, see, let me tell you, I mean, we can't handle huge volumes of data here. And again, see, with this one, lot of problems happens here. So what is the solution for this one? Data engineering is a solution. And what do you do in engineering? You actually build the concept of something called as data lakes or data lakehouse. Data lake or data lakehouse. So we have understood this concept, right? Data lakehouse here. All right. So that is the importance of a data engineer. And let me tell you, see, if you look at the data engineers, right? Data engineers are the frontline engineers who work in a variety of ways to build systems that collect, manage, and convert raw data into usable information for data scientists and business analysts to interpret. All right. So if you look at the, visual image, right? I can tell you something in between the data and the different data teams, right? A data engineering process is required. That is the job role of a data engineer. That is the importance of a data engineer. So without these things now today, no analytics teams can be, I mean, you cannot analyze any kind of analytics teams without the data engineering kind of process here. So that is the role, that is the importance of this data engineering teams here. And let me tell you, so if you relate, I told you, right, who is the, I mean, see, what is the difference between a data engineer and a data scientist? So the, what is the job role of a data engineer? So he builds data pipelines. So what is a pipeline? I'll explain you. He built data pipelines to pull together data from different systems, validate and prepare high quality data, aids data scientists in integrating, consolidating, and cleaning data. So on the other hand, if you look at the data scientists, right? Data scientists need reliable data for machine learning, data exploration, and other analytical projects involving large data sets. Data scientists may rely on data engineers to find and prepare data for their analysis. So they are relying on data engineers. Everyone relies on data engineers only, guys, in order to get reliable data. So that is the importance of a data engineer. So now I'll explain you in this visual format here. So what you do especially in real world things here. So let me show you something, guys. For example, you have SQL data here. And again, you have JSON data. And let's say you have some kind of Parquet file here. You have some other kind of CRM kind of systems here. And again, APIs. So which we also call it as web kind of sources, web sources or websites. I mean, all right. And again, let me tell you, it could be any other kind of format here. All right. So JSON, Parquet, CRM, API, SQL, and all right. So now all this kind of data sources you have here. Fine. Now you require, see what you do as a data engineer, you actually play with all this kind of data. You ingest this data through something called as data pipelines here. So let me tell you something. See, this is a typical pipeline. So this is a rough image, guys. I'm not a perfect painter here, you not worry. So let me tell you, this is some kind of pipeline, data pipeline. And again, after this, you have something called as data lake here. All right. So this is something called as data lake here. All right. And again, after this, again, you have some other thing. So this is called as lake house, lake house. And again, after this, finally, you share the data with the different teams here. So it could be BI team, and again, it might be some kind of machine learning team. And again, it could be some kind of data science team. And again, it could be some other kind of AI team, artificial intelligence team here. So what you do, so you actually ingest. All right. So you actually ingest here. Fine. So what you do is you actually ingest the data into this pipeline here. Then what you do, I mean, so using this pipeline is some kind of object, I mean, which lets you collectively ingest all these different kinds of data. All right. So all these different kinds of data you could ingest into this pipeline and you could maintain this data in a data lake here. Finally, what you could do is you could process all this data. Now you have all the data stored here, right? You're getting this data in through different data sources here. All right. So if I take the same Walmart example, right? So they have this data in structured format. They have this data in JSON format. They have their sales data in Parquet Finder format. Again, some kind of CRM systems, API kind of things here. Now, all of the data you'll be extracting, you'll be ingesting through the concept of this data pipelines. And again, you'll be storing all the data on cloud in a data lake format here. And again, finally, you'll move the data again to a lakehouse kind of format where you'll process the data here. You'll process the data here. All right. So here you perform some kind of data process, data process, data transformation. All right. So data transformation. Finally, what you do is you actually, after finally converting the data, I mean, the data could be shared by, I mean, BI team. All right. Data could also be shared to some kind of machine learning team in order to predict the data. And data can also be shared to some kind of data science team in order to infer something out of it. Or it could be also, the data could also be used to train some kind of AI team here. So in order to come up with similar kind of chat GPT kind of chatbot here. All right. So this, I mean, see, this is the entire process that you perform in real world scenarios here. So this will be your actual job here. All right. So data lake is for storage kind of thing. So let me also write this for storing the data. All right. So that is your, I mean, see. So data pipelines are for data ingestion here. All right. So data ingestion. Fine. So this is the entire process that you perform using this data engineering kind of thing here. So this is the entire process, guys. All right. So this is the entire process here. So now let me tell you something. So if someone asks you what is the job roles of a data engineer, right? He has wide roles here. So he involves in data extraction. He also performs data ingestion, data cleaning and transformation, data analysis and processing, and finally data sharing, data visualization. All right, visualization. So what is visualization? So, reports, dashboards, everything, right? You visualize the data in some kind of visual format, bar chart, pie chart, some kind of things. Okay. So, I mean, see, all these are the different activities a data engineer will perform here. Can you provide some examples of what process or transformations happens in Lakehouse here? Good question. Let me tell you something. Now, you have some kind of data which is stored in a tabular format here. So SQL is some kind of tabular format. Again, JSON format. JSON is having some other kind of format. Key value pair, we call it as. Okay. And Parquet again is some kind of big data format. I mean, so it is stored in some other kind of format. CRM also has some different format here. Now, see, now let's try to understand in this way. All of the Walmart's sales data is available in this different kinds of data formats here. Now, in order to understand, see what is like, say, for example, let us try to understand. You're analyzing the last quarter data. All right, last quarter data. So, in order to analyze the data, right, first of all, if the data is stored in different formats, you have to combine all these data sources, right? You have to combine and again convert this data into one single format. So, how do you do this one? So, where do you do this one? In a lakehouse only. All right. So, that is where, I mean, different transformation things you apply here. So, you apply some kind of joins here, you combine the data, Again, you convert the data, you transform the data. Transformation involves different kinds of activities. All right. So, for example, I want to calculate something. I want to calculate product wise kind of sales here. Or I want to calculate, like, for example, I want to come out with what are the top 10 cities in terms of sales across USA. What are the top 10 cities here? Fine. Again, what are the top 10 customers? Who are the top 10 customers who are giving me lot of sales here? And what are the high selling products here? What are the low selling products here? All such kind of information, if you want it, right, you have to apply, I mean, you have to transform the data here. So that is where this process involves here. But in order to, I mean, see, make this process right, first of all, you have to store the data somewhere. You have to bring this data, you have to extract this data. You have to first of all store this data, then convert this data actually. So that is this lakehouse kind of concept here. All right. So hope I have answered your question here. So that is some kind of things you perform here. All right. Again, see, after this, finally, when the data is arranged in some kind of format, right? So here the data, we call it as a delta format here, guys. So let me tell you, there is some kind of format we call it as here, delta format. What is this delta format? In tomorrow's session, we'll try to understand. As of now, so we convert every data into this delta format here. And finally, the data will be shared to different other kind of teams here. So this is the job role of a data engineer. Fine, a simple kind of things here. I'm telling you. Now, let me tell you some other things here. So, I think you have understood, right? So, even for a data scientist or for some kind of machine learning people, in order to predict something, in order to infer something, right? They have to, first of all, have some kind of reliable data. So, when you're having the data in different formats here, so what do they do? So, can a data scientist work? No, right? Can a machine learning engineer can he predict something? No, right? Because see, how can he place with this data? Can he play with this data? JSON, Parquet, CRM, a machine learning team? No, right? So he can't deal with this kind of data. Data, see, you can also ingest the data provided if you think that data is properly cleaned and formatted, right? Transformed, right? You can directly ingest the data into Lakehouse also. Good question, Bhumika. So, see, let me tell you, most of the times we go with data lake here for storing the data. Because see, you at least require some kind of storage kind of thing also, right? In order to dump the data somewhere. So you require this kind of concept here, data lake. Fine. You could also directly ingest the data into this lake also without the need for a data lake. But where do you store the data? At least you should have some kind of storage space also, right? Where do you store the data? So that is the reason we go with data lake kind of concept. And the other thing is data lake also lets you store the data in different formats here. As I told you, you don't need to convert. Unlike we're doing that thing in some kind of data warehousing, right? So you're converting the data here again into structured format. But here it is not required here. All right. So here it is not required. It's not required here. All right. You can store the data in its native format. So that is the importance of this data lake here. And huge amounts of data can be maintained compared to your normal traditional data warehouse here. All right. So now let me tell you some other things. Now let me tell you why the importance of cloud here. So why Azure cloud? Why not AWS or why not GCP or why not any other things here? Let me explain you now. See, Azure, though AWS is the first kind of cloud kind of solution provider in the market, but Microsoft market is very huge. I mean, so they have rapidly grown and they're growing. I mean, okay. And again, see, when you compare the data platforms on Azure and AWS, right? Azure and AWS. Let me tell you, Azure was AWS. So who is the leader here? Azure is the leader, guys. Because see, when an organization wants to adopt cloud practices, right, they look for different factors here. They also look at what kind of price I'm being charged here. All right. And cloud is some kind of concept where you can store the data on cloud servers here. No need to maintain the data in physical servers. No need to install anything. No need to maintain that one. Any kind of concept here. And Azure is giving you, I mean, the cheapest solution for this kind of data, kind of implementations here. And they have a solution for all your data problems here. See, if your requirement is data storage, they have an answer for that. If your requirement is for data processing and transformation, they have a solution for that. And again, if your requirement is to implement or run some kind of jobs here, they have a solution for that. All right. So that is the importance of Azure here now. All right. And again, as you people know, they have joined hands with OpenAI. All right. You people know this one, right? OpenAI. So they came up with something called a Chat GPT. Chat GPT. All right. So now this open AI services also they're giving on their cloud platforms, Azure cloud platform. So that means you can also come up and build a chat bot similar to Chat GPT kind of application. You could also build. All right. And again, see, Microsoft is betting huge in this data field and again in AI market. And see, let me show you some kind of article, guys. Azure overtakes. So this article was published on Forbes site. Let me show you this. See, what is this? Why Microsoft Azure could take the cloud lead from Amazon AWS by 2026. Let me tell you guys, Azure had the potential to even overtake AWS market also and become the number one leader in this cloud area. It has the potential here. So Microsoft is betting huge in this AI field and again in this data kind of field also. All right. And again, let me tell you, I'll tell you. Need not worry. I'll tell you this one. All right. And again, let me tell you, see something. Let me also show you something. Cost wise also, let me tell you, see, if AWS is charging you $100, for example, I'm telling you, for some kind of data implementation, Azure will almost all charge you 20 to $30. So that is the cheapest solution any organization is getting today. All right. So you can see now when they get this kind of, good services, right? All right. So why do they want to rely on some other kind of platforms here? Fine. So that is also one of the answer here because see, they have a solution for everything here. So you have any kind of data service or any kind of data issues, they have a solution for that. All right. So that is also one other kind of, factor. So why Azure is gaining momentum. See, Azure market is expanding exponentially year over year, guys. Year on year, they're expanding very rapidly. And let me tell you, out of 10 organizations, almost all 8 to 9 organizations are moving to Azure. And this I'm not saying, you can Google it out yourself, guys. Almost all now the organizations are ready to adopt Azure cloud practices here rather than AWS here. So that is the kind of momentum they are gaining actually for their clients here, customers here. So today, if you take it, almost all MNC out of 10 organizations, 8 to 9 organizations are moving to Azure. And if you take it, they have, almost all the Fortune 500 clients across the globe, organizations are adopting Azure cloud services here. And again, see, if you look at the Azure growth trend, they're growing exponentially growing. So this is from Statista. So this is one of the organization again, research-based organizations. So you can Google it out. You will get all this kind of news here. It is not my words. Okay. And again, let me tell you today, Azure is offering you 200 to 300 plus different kinds of services where you can come up with any kind of implementation you want it here. All right. So if you're having any kind of need, you can come out with that kind of application specific software. All right. So that is the important kind of things they're offering you. And again, if you look at this job market trend, right? See, Azure is the leader. So again, this is some from Gartner. This is from Gartner, this kind of image here. Okay. So you can see, the leaders here. Okay. So with the leader here, Microsoft. All right. And again, let me also show you something, guys. Even there are a lot of jobs on Azure than AWS and some other kind of things in this data field here. Let me also show you that. Let me show you something. So people from Australia, see, let me tell you, your Australian government has signed an memorandum of understanding with Microsoft. And so in Australian government sectors, so everything is Azure now. So they are adopting Azure, Microsoft Azure cloud practices here. So you can see there are so many jobs here on data engineering. So if you look at this process, right, let me explain you. See, the kind of cloud concepts they are asking you: Azure Cloud Stack, Azure Data Factory, Databricks here, and ADLS. Now we have, see, visually drawn something, right? Let me explain you. So what is this one? This is a data pipeline. So what are the usage of this one? So this is used for data ingestion. That means in order to ingest this data. Now on Azure, we have a service for this one. We call it as Azure Data Factory. All right. So using that service, we actually build this data pipeline. And this concept, you people know it, data lakes here. Now Lakehouse, where do you build this Lakehouse? On top of Databricks platform, Azure Databricks here. So now let me again show you the job requirement here: Azure Data Factory, Databricks, and ADLS. ADLS stands for Azure Data Lake Service. All right. So that is the same things they'll be asking you in interviews, in real world scenarios also. So we'll be working hands on. I'll be giving you hands on, practical hands on this kind of data engineering scenarios here. So you will be working almost all on different 100 plus different kinds of scenarios here. All right. Again, real world projects I'll help you with. All right. So will also work out on different kind of real time projects and scenarios. And again, I'll also, see, tell you how you need to answer them in interviews. And again, how to get jobs here, because of previous students also like you. So even they have secured a lot of jobs, guys. All right. So people like you, who are beginners into this field here, they have secured a good packages with good packages. All right. And again, if you look at this job, see, you have a lot of jobs, guys. Senior data engineer, SQL, and Databricks here. So Databricks is nothing but the concept here, data lakehouse. I told you, right? Lakehouse kind of platform. So that is where you will be building this one, Databricks here. Fujitsu. So is this one Robert Walters, Randstad, Brunel, and recently, our previous batch, one of the girl, she secured two job offers, guys, before the course got completed here. Let me tell you. So one offer is from Infosys, and I think it is from Melbourne location, and the other one is from some kind of banking kind of organization. All right. So let me tell you, there are lot and lot of opportunities. And again, let me also show you something. Let me go with Dice, people from US. I'll go with Dice, dice.com. And again, Azure Data Engineer. So let me just search this. How many jobs, guys? Sure, plenty of jobs in US. You can see this one, 32,730 jobs. Only the thing is, you need to have the right skills, guys. All right. You need to have the right skills in order to secure these jobs. Very easy. All right. And you can also see the packages. Okay. So the pay, so what is that you're getting? All right. So the salary range is 130 to $150,000 a year. And again, you can see if you look at the job description, again, it's the same thing, Azure Cloud Services. And again, so let me tell you something. Okay. Hmm. Azure DevOps Git CI/CD pipeline. So we'll be also learning this concept here. All right. So you can see the guys, so what they're asking you, lead Azure data engineer. So again, so you have other kind of, see, lot of jobs are there. Only the thing is we require right skills in order to secure this job. So Canada also, see, there are a lot of jobs here. I'll go with Google Trends, otherwise. So let me tell you something. Azure data engineer jobs, Canada. See, we have candidates from UK, see, lot of candidates, guys. Okay, so UK, US, Australia, Canada, and Middle East. Okay, and India as well. So, a lot of guys have secured jobs. So even they were beginners like you people. And let me tell you, even those people have also secured a lot of jobs here. So on LinkedIn also, you have, almost all 317 jobs have been posted. Glassdoor, you can see 584 Azure data engineer jobs here. So LinkedIn as well. There are a lot and lot of jobs, guys. Only the thing is you need to have the right skills here. That's it. Data engineer, Toronto, and Ewing. You can see TCS, Toronto, Magna International, Brattle. All right, so you have a lot of things here. And again, let me also show you something. UK. Let me show you something. People from UK, so you can also look at this. So how many jobs have been posted on LinkedIn as of now? 340. I mean, see again, I think read you have 619 Azure data engineer jobs on Glassdoor 169. So there are a lot of jobs, guys. I mean, all right, lot of jobs here. So let me also show you the trend here. Okay, Google Trends. Let us see. I'll give you that one. I'll tell you how a beginner can secure a job here. All right. So okay, so it is looking by this one. All right, compare not just India, worldwide. All right. So you can see, I mean, India, UK, United States, of course. I mean, we're also having the other kind of things. You could also search it with AWS also. AWS data engineer. You could see, okay, so the rise and you can see the rise, guys, here. All right. So somewhere, I mean, see the Azure is leading. And but again, let me tell you, there are a lot of jobs in Azure than AWS here. All right, AWS. And let me tell you, so I think, I mean, so it's a good, very good question. So most of the jobs require years of experience. How does a beginner break in? Let me tell you guys, see, now you might be working in some kind of job role, right? So what you need to do is you need to project that experience that you have worked on data engineering kind of aspects here. So you need to project yourself in such way. All right. Now let me tell you, see, even I mean, all of you are beginners into this field, right? Fine. So you do not have any kind of experience into this data engineering. But once you learn this one, you could project up to 7 years of experience. I can give you that one. So easily you can scale up to 5 to 9 years of experience. You can put this kind of things here by the real world examples that we practice here and the real time projects that I give you. You can just put them in your resumes and you can just search them. Okay, that is how previous even students got jobs here. All right. So let me tell you one kind of job offer. I mean, so I have his offer letter. I hope. I mean, so let me show you that. Just a minute, guys. I think I okay. No problem, no worries. I mean, I'll show you that one. I have his job offer. I mean, okay, I got it. Let me employment offer. Let me share you this. You are the same person just like you. Is from Middle East, and again, see, he secured a job on ADE. And again, let me tell you, he got a very good, handsome salary package here. All right, so this is per month he got. I mean, okay, Emirati dirhams. I mean, so 31,500 dirhams he got per month. I mean, all right. So it is his employment letter here. So likewise, I mean, so we are having even certain other students as well. So those who secured very good packages here. All right. And let me tell you, everything will be, I mean, hands-on here. You don't need to worry about anything. Technically, I'll give you everything here in order to get a job and in order to work in your job also. All right. So even after you get any kind of job, so even see if you want any kind of support, I'm also ready to help you out in that kind of aspects as well. All right. So right from C, even if you're beginner, no need to worry. Even if you don't know programming, no need to worry. So I'm here to help you out with all these kind of things here. We'll be learning all the kind of things that is necessary for your job here. All right. So let me tell you the learning path here. So what we'll be learning. So for storage kind of thing, see first data storages, right? Storage kind of thing, we go with certain thing called as Azure. uh, data lake here. Data lake also. All right. So popularly, it is also called as ADLS, Azure Data Lake Storage. And again, we also learn something Azure SQL database here. No, it's not mandatory, but if you have any kind of experience, right, that will again boost your profile there. Data visualization is not mandatory, guys. You no need to, worry about that. You need to know Power BI and some other kind of tools here. It's not mandatory here. Just, see if you can integrate it with Power BI, that itself is enough here. All right. So in real world scenarios, data engineers will not work on data visualizations, creating data visualizations. No, no, that is what I'm telling you guys. Power BI is not mandatory. All right. So, data engineers do not work on Power BI. Just they integrate the data with Power BI. That's it. And again, see, in real world scenarios, what happens is there will be separate data, analyst teams for that one. Data analyst. A data analyst will be working on Power BI. So you will be, like, for example, extracting the data from Databricks or something. And again, you'll be integrating it with your Power BI. And again, you'll be working, you will be coming up with some kind of visualizations, creating some kind of reports, dashboards, everything. So data engineers will not be given this kind of job here. Data engineer's job is to see, share this data. First of all, extract the data, build the concept of data pipelines, as I told you, transform that data, clean that data, and make that data available for other data developers. So this is the job of a data engineer. And again, so as I told you, storage when it comes to the case of this thing, right? So we'll be learning this one, Azure Blob Storage. All right. Processing transformation at Lakehouse. Yes, of course. Lakehouse will be learning. Yeah, you need not worry about that. So again, for ETL pipeline building, right? Building pipelines here. So we have one service called Azure Data Factory. All right. Again, in order to process the data, real-time data, batch data, big data kind of thing, right? Okay, so data processing. So we have a service called Azure Databricks. And again, for cloud data warehousing concept, so we have something called as Azure Synapse Analytics. All right, analytics. And again, Azure Active Directory. All right, Azure Active Directory and Key Vault. All right. So these are the things you will be learning, guys, as part of this one. And let me tell you, see, the other kind of courses that we are offering for free of cost. So as part of this courses, SQL. So some of you might not be aware with this one. Some of you people know this SQL, but anyways, we'll be starting off with SQL and again Spark. All right. So we'll also be learning something about PySpark as well. All right. So that means, see Python plus Spark here, PySpark. All right. So we'll be learning these things, as part of our course here. So you need not worry about all these things, guys. Even if you're a beginner in this field, so I'll make you learn from the scratch. What are the use of PySpark? On Databricks, you build the concept of data lake house and again Delta Lake concept, right? So you actually process the data using PySpark here. Because Databricks actually runs on Spark clusters, Apache Spark clusters here. So for that thing, you need to know PySpark kind of things here. So how to write the code in PySpark, everything. Need not worry, even if you don't know programming. So we'll be learning here entire thing. All right. So this is the learning path, guys. And again, after our course, let me tell you something. See, even if you want to attempt your certifications DP203, which is from Microsoft Azure Data Engineer Associate. So you could still, so you can even, go and attempt this examination. You can clear this certification as well, DP203. All right. And as I told you, so after this, we'll also be working on your resume preparation. So how you need to project yourself, even if you're a beginner into this field. So what kind of projects you need to display in your resumes. All right. And what kind of keywords you need to mention as part of your resume to get picked up, by the hiring managers here. So we'll discuss all these kind of things here. And again, LinkedIn profile optimization also, because let me tell you guys, hiring managers today are not just relying on the traditional job portals, but they're also, I mean, interested to hire candidates from who have active LinkedIn profile. So we'll also tell you, I mean, how you need to optimize your profile on LinkedIn. What is that you need to do in order to get huge number of calls from the recruiters here. So we'll work on this one. All right. And again, as I told you, post job services also you'll be getting. So if you want any kind of support initially from us, so I'm ready to help you. All right. So this is what MNC as part of our course, guys. And again, let me tell you, as I told you, skills are important here, not the certification or anything. Skills are mandatory, so that is important. And these are the skill sets you will be learning here. So ADE skills that you require for your job here. How many approximate classes are dedicated to SQL, PySpark, and ADE? Guys, for SQL, almost all 4 to 5 sessions, and for Python and Spark, almost all 10 sessions will be dedicating towards it. And rest of the sessions are on ADE. Fine. So almost all 45 sessions you have when, I mean, out of these sessions, I mean, so for SQL, I mean, 4 to 5 sessions, and for PySpark, almost all 10 sessions, and rest of the sessions will be on ADE. So how to implement that thing on cloud, Azure cloud here. And let me tell you, so how you will be practicing all these kind of scenarios and every implementations here. So I'll tell you, I mean, how to create your Azure profile. You need to create your Azure account. So initially you will be given with $200 of free Azure credits here. So let me even show you that Azure. So try Azure for free. I'll tell you when you need to, I mean, prepare your resumes here. All right. I mean, see, initially you'll be given with $200 of free Azure credits here, guys. And just a minute, okay. So if you have any other questions, you can unmute and ask me, guys. And once again, I'll share my screen. All right. So you will have to create this Azure account. It is free of cost, and we'll be making use of this account in order to practice all the things here. Okay, okay, you're unable to fine. Just let me. All right, so you can do now. I mean, so you can unmute and you can ask.
Yeah, Vamshi, please go ahead. Thank you.
Yeah. So I'll tell you this one. Okay, so when you need to create these accounts. So before this, before we start off with Azure, right? So we'll be working on SQL as some of you might not be aware of SQL. So we'll have some kind of sessions on SQL, some 4 to 5 sessions. So what you need to prepare as part of SQL. And again, then we'll start off with our Azure sessions here. All right. But anyways, tomorrow as well. So I'll be giving you some other kind of Azure data platform. So what is Azure data platform and what you need, what you will be doing? I mean, okay. And in real world scenarios, let me tell you guys, you'll be working on this kind of things here. Let me show you something. Azure data engineer architecture. So this is the kind of job role you'll be having. So this is the kind image or the architecture I'll will be working on. So as I told you, you have some kind of service on Azure, which is called Azure Data Factory. In detail explanation, we'll be learning in coming sessions about this. So you will be actually building the concept of a data pipeline using Azure Data Factory. Now, what is the usage of data pipeline? So as I told you, data pipelines are used to ingest different kinds of data. So you ingest all that data into your Azure cloud. On Azure cloud, where you store the data, as I told you, in data lakes here. And then if you're having any stream data, that is real world, real time data, right? So you use other kind of service called Azure Event Hubs here. So where you directly ingest the data into Databricks here. And as I told you, you actually, I mean, process the data using Databricks, Lakehouse kind of concept here. So where you will be working on Delta Lake kind of approach. I think I've shared, given you this here. See Delta format here. I told you, right? So that is the same kind of concept we'll be working on. All right, Delta Lakes here. And you'll be learning how to process the data using PySpark, Spark SQL, All right, so Azure Databricks here. So finally, you can share the data. I mean, you can integrate that data with Power BI. I'll tell you how you can do that one. And also the data can also be shared by other teams here, as I told you, some machine learning teams or something. So this is what you'll be working in real world scenarios. In simple terms, so a simple thing I'll tell you, like you'll be playing with different kinds of data sources. You'll be building the concept of a data pipeline in order to ingest the data into data lake storage here. And you'll be processing the data using Databricks here. And again, come up with other kind of data services using Synapse and Power BI. So this is what a data engineer does. I mean, so this is what you need to know as part of Azure data. Engineer kind of concepts here.
Vamshi, can you show us what are the different hands-on activities that we'll be doing in the real-time projects to
Yes,
take
yes,
the
yes.
meeting
Okay.
forward, please?
Yes, yes, yes. Let me share you something here. So, if you look at the course contents, right? So you will be learning about Azure. See the Azure basics here, foundations of Azure for data engineer. And again, so you'll be also learning the importance of Azure Data Platform. So what are the different services on Azure Data Platform that Azure is offering you, and how you could use those kind of data services here. So we'll try to understand all these things in detail. And again, as I told you, there are different data storages on Azure, and irrespective of the type of data you are having. So, what are those things? We'll try to understand that. And once we start off with data factory, right? So, data factory is where you build the concept of data pipelines to ingest the data for data integration and CI/CD pipelines, everything. So, what is this data factory? What are the different kinds of things here? We'll be learning each and everything hands on practically. It's not any theoretical kind of sessions, guys. I'll practically show you how each and everything works here. And I'll make you to learn each and every day. The recordings will be shared to you. I'll also share you some kind of materials here. And again, assessments also, assignments also. You have to practice it. You have to learn those concepts. So previous batch students have also done that one and they are secured jobs here. So you also should follow the same thing in order to get a good pay package here against whether it is Synapse Analytics or any kind of data bricks also. And again, data lake storage as well, data streaming with data streaming things here. And again, as I told you, hands-on Azure Data Engineer Labs. So this is one will give you really a good hands-on this kind of concepts here. So irrespective of the concept here, whether it is ADLS, whether it is data factory, whether it is Delta Lakehouse, whether it is Databricks, everything, you'll be gaining lot and lot of hands-on scenarios here. Not books, Kingsley. So I'll share you, day-wise materials here. Need not worry about that. And again, so as I told you, right, so you'll be working on real-time projects here. So real-time projects, so one of the common projects, so which data engineers perform in real-world scenarios, data migration project, end-to-end ETL pipeline here. And again, so what are the concept of CI/CD pipelines here? So how you can extract the data from some other kind of cloud platforms here. Say you're having some kind of data which is stored in AWS S3 bucket. So how you can pull the data from there? So how you can, see, migrate the data from there. So we'll work on this kind of scenarios, and you could mention and put down the same things in your resume while you attend the interviews as well. So I'll give you the, code snippets of this one, and again the real-time project documentation also. So it will help you a lot. And again, interview questions, up-to-date interview questions with answers I'll share you. So that so it will really help you out in clearing your interviews as well. So if you look at the bonuses, right? So you'll be getting up-to-date AD interview questions and answers, mock interviews if you really need it, placement assistance because we can share your profiles with others. And again, certification. But again, let me tell you guys, do not I advise my students not to shell out money from your own pockets because when you step into any organization as a data engineer, they'll sponsor you for your certification. All right. So again, as I told you, your resume preparation and LinkedIn profile optimization. So with all these kinds of handy tools, you can really easily secure a job on Azure Data Engineer. All right. So these are the things you will be learning and you will be working on. And take out that confusions from your mind. So I'm a beginner. I don't know programming. I don't know SQL. So we'll be learning here. Need not worry. You have to dedicate some kind of time in order to practice these things here. All right. So that's the concepts here. Fine. So that's about the session for today. So any questions, please, you can ask.
I just want to inform everyone that each and every live class is being recorded, and these recordings will be uploaded in the Google Drive, and all of you are going to have access to that Google Drive, which contains the recordings and materials for next 1 year. Thank you.
Any questions, please?
Looks like all good for today, Vamshi. Thank you very much. Thank you all of you for joining today's session. So please join tomorrow using the same link, same time. Thank you.
Kingsley, you'll be okay. So each and every day you'll be getting access to the Google Drive, so you can watch the recordings there. You can also look at the materials that I share you. All right. So you'll be given some kind of drive link. You can access that.
Thank you, Vamshi. Thank you all.
Yeah. Thank you all, guys. So let's meet in tomorrow's session. Thank you.
Same time tomorrow.
Yeah, same time tomorrow, guys.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks a lot, guys. So let's meet in tomorrow's session. Thank you.